A'udzubillahi minasyaitonirrajim. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Today we'd like to talk about hypothesis. What is hypothesis? Hypothesis is a proposed explanation or prediction about a phenomenon or a set of phenomena that is based on limited evidence or prior knowledge. That is hypothesis. So the definition is like that. Then when you like to the formulation, how are the construct of the hypothesis? A hypothesis typically formulated in a form of statement that is include an independent, dependent, and proposed relationship between the variable, between the two variables, or more. You can have more. What is independent variable? Independent variable is the factor that is manipulated or changed in the experiment or in the research. And then what is dependent variable? Dependent variable is the factor that is measured or that is observed and to see that influence. If it is a factor that influencing the that's influenced by dependent, by independent. This is dependent one. Now let us talk about the types of hypotheses. There are two main hypotheses, and then the second one is about the other types of hypotheses. But usually it is enough for us to have a main type hypothesis. Main type of hypothesis consists of alternative hypothesis, usually called it H1, and then null hypothesis, HO. And this is the main types of hypothesis. Other types of hypothesis, some researchers, some experts say, consist of like directional hypothesis, non-directional hypothesis, or maybe a reset hypothesis and statistical hypothesis. Alternative hypothesis, it is a statement that suggests a relationship or difference between two variables, and it represents the research prediction or theory that the researcher want to make a research. This is alternative hypothesis. When you make a research and then apparently the literature says that there is no relationship, then you propose null hypothesis. Null hypothesis is a statement that suggests there is no relationship or difference between two variables. It is often used as a baseline or default assumption and tested against the alternative hypothesis. Usually the one is tested is the null hypothesis. If null hypothesis is rejected, it means that the alternative hypothesis is accepted. Usually like that. And then now let us talk about the other types of hypothesis. Usually the common practice, we just use the main one. But if you like to have another types of hypothesis, it can be a directional hypothesis. It is hypothesis that predict the direction of the relationship between the variable. For example, increasing amount of fertilizer will increase crop yield. And this one, directional. Non-directional hypothesis that predict that there will be no relationship between the two variables, but do not predict the direction of the relationship. For example, there is a relationship between smoking and cancer. There's no, the relationship. Again, I repeat again. The non-directional hypothesis predict there will be a relationship between the two, but it not predict the direction of the relationship. This one, between smoking and cancer. That's for instance, it's not saying that smoking increase cancer. No direction. So this is non-directional one. And the next one is research hypothesis. It is a hypothesis that is specific for a particular study or research project. It is often based on prior research or theoretical framework. So it is done for certain research. And the next one is statistical hypothesis. It is hypothesis that can be tested using a statistical analysis. Can be set as a statistical hypothesis. If you in qualitative research, you can also make a hypothesis, but it's not tested using statistical thing. I think that's one not statistical hypothesis. Now let us talk about how to construct hypothesis. How will you make the hypothesis? The first, you will identify a research problem. Start from identifying the problem, a question, then you want to investigate. This will help you to focus on specific interests that guide your research. First, before you do, you set the identifying the research problem. After that, you review the literature. Read as many as possible book or research article and so on. And from that one, you can go to the next step. You have formulate the question. What is your research question? What your question that raise you an issues? And then after that, determine the variable. How many variable? What kind of variable that appear that attract you? After you got the variable, and then you develop the hypothesis, whether the relationship of the variable is, and there is relationship or there's no relationship based on the researchers, the research that you, based on the literature review that you have already done. After that, you will develop the hypothesis. Use your research question and identified variable to develop the clear, testable hypothesis. The hypothesis should be specific, concise, and provide a clear prediction of the expected outcome of your study. If there you would like to make two kind of research like for instance the reading habit, the relationship between the student reading habit and their learning achievement, for sure you have to decide clear. Is there any relationship on your reading literature or not? If there is, then most of the literature says that there is a relationship. For sure, then you create the relationship. And after that, you can refine the hypothesis by asking the question to the peer, to your friend, to your lecturer, to other people that have the same concern, maybe to expert. And after you have refined your hypothesis, then the last one you test the hypothesis to see whether your hypothesis is accepted or rejected. So this is the hypothesis that we are talking today. Thank you for your kind attention. See you next time, and Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.